Hello, everyone. It is Monday, and it is Man United agenda time. I know you're thinking, Rebel, why aren't you watching Ireland? It's over there. Don't worry about it. But stay with us for the latest in the takeover. Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome to this Monday edition of the Man United Agenda. I did do a weekend review show yesterday, so if you didn't catch that, it's on the catalogue, so please do give that a watch. And I do want to shout out our shop. So we have now got the Man United Agenda merch store. You can get pens, coasters, cups, and much, much more. So just screen grab the link there, and that will take you direct to the Man United Agenda store, where you can get a beauty like this. Now, gentlemen, very welcome to this Monday edition show. On Monday, I know you're just in from work, so thanks for joining us. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, had a great day, had a good weekend. Enjoying international football. Enjoyed England, 2 games they played as well. Good result against Italy. That's really competitive. Actually, the only thing I want to see is that I feel where they fail a lot of the time that they play a weak groups and don't really play competitive games in the groups. And suddenly, when you're in a knockout round of a big tournament, you come up against the first decent team and you usually lose. And that I want to see better games, more games like Italy, England, and more competitive games like that. England are looking good. I just think they need to be tested more regular at a higher level.
Absolutely. Now, as you know, France served up Holland in their first game. They had 2 goals in the first 7 minutes. It's just half time now, and it's Ireland nil, France nil, live from the Aviva Stadium. Colm, obviously, you and me were chinwagging for the last half an hour on the FTSN channel. So if you do want to check that out, please do so. And if you ever fancy getting a little energy drink, FTSN 22 gets you 10% off rate. Sorry, Monday, but we have to plug it. We have to plug it. But let's get down to business on Monday. Obviously, the takeover is everything that is on Man United's fans' lips at the moment. And a report today is that the Glazers' valuation of the club has not been met. This despite reports from various news sources that the bids from Qatar and Sir Jim Ratcliffe both exceed £5 billion. Now, obviously, that has not been independently quantified, and given the fact that they probably signed an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, this is all speculative. But it does look at this stage like the Glazers are just taking the shenanigans a little too far. And I'm going to link in topic number 2 because Fabrizio was on another United channel today, and he was mentioning in that interview that he'd done with them that Joel and Evan Glazer have decided to leave us here on planet Earth and are seeking between £6 and £7 billion, that should be, for Manchester United Football Club. Just give me your initial thoughts on this.
Yeah, the sell. I mean, it's never going to be easy. They've been there a long time. They know the value of the club. I think look at the negotiations with recent boxing fights. When money's involved, there's always negotiations, and it always drags on a bit. I think they realise the value of the club. I think they realise if they sell it for $5 billion, there's so much more to be made. So there's keen investors out here. So if you make a bid like that for $5 million or whatever you estimated that, you can make money. People are interested because they can make money from it. No one's going to buy a dead horse out here. They're going to buy something that's going to be raising funds, be a profit-making organisation, which they hope it will be. So I think by raising the price, they're indicating here that Man United is a valuable asset. I mean, you look at, American football. One of the big teams was sold recently for a world record fee. Was it Denver or I don't know, one of them big teams. But it shows you there's a value in it. So whoever's going to buy Manchester United Football Club, which I think they will sell, but whoever's going to buy it will be buying it at a price which maybe is more than what its valuation is. But I think the Glazers, having been at the club, they understand the potential growth at Manchester United Football Club, and that's why it's been dragged on. We only know $5 million as a sort of estimated bid. They're talking 6 or 7 billion here, which is probably realistic by what we've seen with negotiations so far. So you're the man on this sort of topic. I'm just speculating, as we all are, I suppose, really. But I just think it will drag on, and we just have to be patient, and hopefully the sale will be made in the next few weeks.
Column, now just continuing the conversation in regards to the interesting valuation Joel and Avon Glazer have in those little peanut brains of theirs. Manchester United was bought by their dearly departed father for the amount of £700 million way back when. This was a leveraged takeover, meaning that essentially they paid absolutely nada for the club. And they have been withdrawing funds year on year through various items like dividends or non-repayable loan, etc. If you were interested in that kind of thing, you can do a financial deep dive on the financial statements of Manchester United Football Club. But a very well-respected publication, the one that broke Todd Bowley's acquisition of Chelsea Football Club, recently did a valuation of Manchester United Football Club based on earning potential. It stripped out the fact that you needed so much in capital expenditure to address the deficiencies in the expenditure on the stadium and training ground. It took out completely the fact that there was a wall of debt that the Glazer family had not dealt with. And based on its commercial ability, it came in at about £5.5 billion. So even though we, as fans, think Joel and Avon Glazer are gaga, is £6 billion, given that they probably want an element of goodwill on top of it, out of the way.
I mean, I'm no financial expert, you know. I'm not even going to pretend that I am. But I think that they're looking at getting this £6 to £7 billion that they want, simply because, you know, the way that Manchester United is going right now. You know, we've won a trophy for the first time in God knows how long under Eric Ten Hag, and it looks like we're ahead of schedule for challenging for even more trophies. Now, we know that winning trophies brings in more money. So what they're probably looking at is, look, I can sell the club right now for 5.5 billion. But why should I do that when we're back on track to winning trophies, when in 2, 3, 4 years' time, they might be worth 7 billion, 8 billion, 9 billion. So let's get that money now. Let's not cut our losses and just get, you know, what it's worth. Let's get what it's worth in the future as well. And I think that's what they are doing now. And that's why they're holding out for the £6 to £7 billion that they're wanting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I suppose moving forward and pressing on, the Rain Group, who are being appointed by the Glazers to arbitrate the sale of Manchester United Football Club, have today apparently refused to rule out that there could be a third round of bidding. Now, it was speculated over the weekend, and there was terminology used in association with Sheikh Jassim's Qatar bid, that this was the final bid. So, if they try and kick another can down the road and maybe press their luck, is it realistic that Qatar could say, you've messed us around too much now, we came up the road, we met you to a certain point in your evaluation, enough's enough, we're out of here?
I personally don't think that is going to be the case, because from what I know and what I've read, obviously you can't take everything that you read as gospel, but he has indicated to his team that's obviously dealing with this that they are not to return until something is finalised. So he's basically said to him, listen, stay there until we either get the club or we don't.
Absolutely. On Monday, a third round of bidding. I think at this stage, we're all fed up of talking about takeover. Your poor doggies are probably saying, is that rebel guy on about bloody finances again? Do you think the possibility of a third round of bidding would be taking the Urine just a small bit?
No, I think these things will drag. It's a massive club. It's a massive deal. And it's the deal of the century so far, when you talk about purchasing big sporting organisations as Man United are. So I'm not surprised it's going on to the third round. I think in the first round, you knocked out a few people who were expecting, sniffing around with their budget. and second round, you take out a few more. And third round now, people are getting fatigued, and you're starting to see who's looks like Qataris are treading water. Maybe they're bluffing to say they want out. So hopefully a deal will be made. But, you got with business negotiations like this, you got to bluff. You got to show, be a poker face, that kind of thing. So the media won't know. Only the insiders will really know what's going on. And I do sort of still believe at the bottom of this, I think fans have faith, all the Man United agendaites have faith that the club will be sold. It's just a matter of time, formalities that you go through. It's never going to be easy. But the main thing is, when we look at where we are today compared to where we were 4 or 5 months ago, we are in pole position, as in getting the club sold. They're at a different stage now. They're at if you're shopping or something, they've gone to the basket and they're ready to cash out and that kind of thing. So you looked at the items, you put them in your basket, you're ready to put your card in, to swipe your card, and that's where we're at the moment. So I'm really excited about that. I think over the next few days and weeks, we will know a lot more. But I think it comes down to two guys or two organisations looking to take over the club now. And I want to ask you, Rebel, because you're asking the questions when really you should be answering the questions here. What do you think? Because both of us are speculating, but we're both saying, the club will definitely be sold. But we just feel that with all the complications, it's just formalities that we have to go through. Is that right?
Absolutely, and I will answer that question. I just want to say hello to a few people in chat briefly. Eddie's Football Waffle, big up United Agenda. Please do hit that like button. Yes, indeed, please do hit the like button. Glenn, who is the provider of the shop that we mentioned already, if you want to get to United Store, https Man United Agenda Square, or just screen grab that, and that will get you to our merch store. But he's also in the building now. Lucky Singh, how are you doing? He's saying, sell a Man United shirt, green, black, and gold. Green and gold until the club is sold, I think was the motto. He's saying that the Qatari bid needs to be somewhere around 6.2 billion, I think, if I'm reading that correctly. So, which is a gargantuan sum. Now, to come back to your question on Monday, you asked whether or not I think that this could happen. Now, I'm just going to base this completely on market share value. And we had a rather seismic event last Friday. Manchester United Football Club increased its share value by somewhere in the region of 5 to 7%. That was a massive growth spurt in a 1 hour period around 5 p.m. UK time last Friday. The analysis of the way that these shareholdings are going suggests that the market is bracing for a major event. Whether it is a Elliott investment partial footing of the Glazers, or whether or not it's a complete sale, it is bracing for something. There was talk that Aaron Glazer was only doing a bit of window shopping and he wanted to know how much he could get. That does not make sense in the context of the expense that Manchester United Football Club, and in this case the Glazers, would have had to go through in order to hire the Rain Group and do all the processes that they have in order to sell the club. So there is an event coming. The other thing that doesn't really add up is if Elliott Group are just going to foot the Glazers to buy out their siblings, they could have done this without ever going to the bidding process that they have. So again, it does not add up that they would do this for to be financially supported without giving equity. In the event that Elliott were to buy into Manchester United Football Club and take Joel and Avram's siblings' shares, Joel and Avram would be the minority shareholders in Manchester United Football Club. If you're to believe that they hold, I think it's 11 and 12% of the club each. The siblings hold 26% between them. So that would then put Elliott with a bigger stakeholding just on that raw Glazer holding alone. Now, there was speculation that they had instructed their financial guru, Mr. Ed Woodward, to slowly start hoovering up public shares over the last 12 months, and that in various shell companies associated with Manchester United Football Club, that they could actually have another 30% of the club built up there. So that, in fact, that the Glazer holding then would be 92% of Manchester United Football Club. If that is the case, then maybe Elliot taking siblings' shares would not be such a major thing. But we will have to wait and see. I think one thing is for sure, Manchester United Football Club is going through a historical moment in its history. We've had significant events before, and some of them will never be outgarnered. We will always have Munich. That will be the biggest event ever in Manchester United's history. But this will be whether or not Manchester United Football Club returns to competing on the major stage of world football. If we get this wrong, it is unknown when we'll have the opportunity. Now, when I say we're always on the outside looking in. We have no control over this other than to vote with our pockets. There will be no alternative other than to either, if the Glazers stay, you're left with the opportunity to say, okay, at the moment, I do not buy from Manchester United Football Club, the United Agenda store. You have to say, I have to boycott Sky Sports because they broadcast Manchester United Football Club, and I'd be putting money in the Glazers' pockets by supporting Sky Sports. Where does it end? Does this situation with the Glazers end up costing you your love of football? For me, I think we will see a sale. I can't see anyone competing with the financial might of the Qatari bid unless they start teaming up together. Sir Jim, he's a shrewd operator. He's a good businessman. But eventually, money will become a problem. And what you have to remember for the likes of Sir Jim is the club has to be worth what they put into it. Because in the event that something does happen, they cannot afford to eat 1, 2, maybe £3 billion. Qatar look at that as an investment in their plaything.
Well, here we go. I think people are getting frustrated, because of the time. They thought it'd be like a quick sell, but it's dragging on. What we are, 2 week 3 into it, when it's really bubbling up. But it's going to come to an end very soon, I'm sure. But I'm done talking about these financial things in the sale. Let it just run its course, and we will stay on top of it, no doubt. If it's 1 a.m, we will give Rebel a call with the backbone, and he will be on your screen, giving us the spill about the finances for sure.
Just to point out, speaking of history, I actually broke this on a show myself one morning in December, because this is when it actually became tenable that we are actually, in fact, up for sale. And it was what shook our world and has dominated like the Frankie de Jong saga since. But I do want to move on. But Monday, give me a quick flavour of comments before we move on, if you don't mind.
It's all to do with what we're talking about here. We've got big up to Glenn James. Obviously, we spoke about that earlier. Now, Lucky's saying here that Sheikh Jassim wants 6.2 billion dollars. Or he's saying here we have to force Afram hand at 6.1 billion. There's not much difference, but it's big, huge amount there. We'll say hi to UK Strange. He's saying good evening, and he's also saying Glazers out, which has been the main theme for years and years, isn't it? And we're finally getting there. Lucky Singh again is saying Jassim, Fanny, we need force Avran's Glazers hand again. Need to shake up the club, he's saying here. Should be no debating, just sell and F off, says UK Strange. I want to say hi to Delano Francis. How you doing, Delano? He says they have to sell now if we need investment in the team and infrastructure. That'll be for the summer. Need a shake-up, says Lucky. And finally, Lucky saying, Sheikh Jassim, Fanny, Qatari, we work together. Yes, there you go.
And actually, it's interesting that Delano mentioned about team, because the next bit is some speculation over some players. And this is where I'm going to put Cullum's moment to shine. There is a striker by the name of Rasmus Hoj. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his surname. And then we have a midfielder from Borussia Mönchengladbach by the name of Manu Kone. Both are apparently being ran the rule over ahead of potential moves in the summer. What can you tell us about these players, Cullum?
So Rasmus Højlund, not to be pronounced with Erling Haaland, he obviously is a Denmark striker currently playing his time up at Atalanta. His current value is around your £35 million euro mark, but his contract is going to go on for a while. He's contracted there till 2027. He's doing quite well as well at the minute. 23 appearances, 7 goals, 2 assists, 1 yellow card. He's quite tall. I think he's just over 6 foot as well, which fits in with the whole Ten Hag kind of system. He likes his big, strong strikers. He's 20 years old. 20 years old, so he's definitely one for the future. Somebody I like. I've seen him play a couple of times. I'm not going to say to you, that I've watched every single game that he's played because, that's just me talking baloney if I say that. But I've seen him a couple of times, and he does look like a good, promising player. I don't know if you know anything about him, OMONDI, if you've seen him play.
Yeah, I've seen him play. Not like spectacular to me, where I think, oh my God, we've got to get this guy. It's funny, isn't it? You've got Luka Modric, who's a Ballon d'Or winner. Then you've got the Ukrainian guy called Modric as well, similar name. And now you've got Haaland and Holland, or whatever his name is. Don't be fooled, guys. This is like a B team. You've got the A team guys, you've got this B team guys. I really we should have a proper look at him. Now that I know we're interested, I'll have another good look at him because, like I said, he's big, strong. He's skillful as well. Reminds me of the old boy, I forget the game, another Danish guy who used to play for Ajax a few years ago, came through the ranks and got injury prone. Think good technique. These Scandinavian players are really getting good these days. They used to be hard working, just well drilled, but now they're coming a bit of flair and flavour. I mean, the Danish Michael Laudrups and Brian Laudrups of the world were fantastic players, and then they're looking around. They're seeing the Norwegians killing it now with Odegaard and Haaland, and there's more technique. There's more good work rate coming from. You always get good work rate, but when you see players with technique and skill as well, and doing 7 goals in Serie A is not bad for a striker like that. Let's have a good look at him. If he fits the bill, then I'll be quite happy. I know more about Kone. I've been seeing him for a long time since in European for France under 17, 18, 19. I've always been impressed by him. But the striker there, I think we need more time. It's good that he's coming on the radar, getting more options now because we were stuck with Sesko and what's the name, Osherman. Let's get some more guys out there. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to, I'm going to call him Rasmus because I can't keep pronouncing his last name because I will butcher it. Obviously, it's not just us that are looking at him. Real Madrid is sniffing around him, and so are Arsenal. Now, if Odegaard has anything to do with it, we might see him at London playing in red, which, like I said, more knowledge from this kid is we're going to have to do our research and watch how he performs and everything. But if he's an Erik Ten Hag pick, then I trust him completely.
Yes, indeed. Before you move on to Kone, you might have seen my reaction, my grimace. Pavard has scored for France. Ireland coughed up the ball on the outside of their own box with a lazy sideways pass, got intercepted, and Pavard just smacked it into the corner. So Ireland are down, 0-0 against France at home.
Where's Ferguson? Let's see Ferguson play, the young Brighton striker. I'd like to have a look at him. He impressed me more than Rashmond or whatever his name is. We talk about strikers. It's interesting, isn't it? We've got to see the more. We sort of kind of know that he's going to be a big, strong guy who can handle the physical side of the Premier League, but also have a bit of something about him and can put the work in as well. A bit like Mark II of the Warhorse that we've got at the moment. He's came in and he's done a decent job. It's just that maybe need a bit more better quality than him. As we've seen with in the past, the kind of strikers that our manager's gone for, and they've always been successful, scoring a lot of goals. You only have to look at the guy just suffered testicular cancer. What's his name? Hallier. Yeah, he's been fantastic at Ajax since he's arrived there. So it's about the club you play for, the system you play for, and how effective you can be. And hopefully we can get the right man in. Just regards to Kone, I've always liked Kone. So much talent come through French football. We just never know, do you? Guys in the comments, who's the guy from signed from Lyon, the midfielder who went to Spurs and then didn't work out. He looked fantastic. He was gone now. He went to Spurs, didn't work out for him there recently. Black guy, French black.
And Dumbledore.
midfielder.
Yeah.
Dumbledore, yeah. Everyone's Dumbledore, look at him. Oh, he's fantastic. He looks great. All this kind of thing. And then it didn't work out for him in the Premiership for whatever reason. So when you get with these French players, French have got probably the best talent pool in the whole of Europe. You have to like consistently drilling out players, who just seem to be amazing. But there's something where with the French football where you need to know that they're mentally onside. Now with this Kone guy, looks fantastic, resists pressure really well, plays deep, keeps up the ball. You rush him, and you turn away from you nice and easy. Plays in his, in his own little style, his own little graceful way. Very technical as well, and very strong, 6'1" as well. So I've always liked him. But you never know whether they can cross over to the Premiership, have the mentality at 20, 21 years old for a big club like Manchester United and come in and do the business. Because there's so many times people can fail. You have to look at our track record of bringing in midfielders from abroad, Cleberson, Jemba. These are guys that look good abroad, come to Manchester, and they can't cut it. So I want to know about his mentality because I look at him, he looks fantastic, but the mental has to be there and the maturity has to be there. And if he's ready, then bring him in.
Thanks very much on Monday. Colum, obviously Frankie de Jong was the midfielder that dominated proceedings last summer. It looks like we moved on from that. What's your thoughts on Mr. Kone?
I mean, this is a player I don't actually know a lot about him at all, to be honest with you. Apart from looking at a sheet of paper and reading some stats, I really don't know a lot. I have the tendency as well, like when I watch games, I always tend to focus on what the goalkeepers are doing more than what the outfield players are doing, because it's just my kind of thing. It'll be an interesting one. I'm going to have to actually have a look at him and see, what OMONDI's talking about, and see if he'll be able to do it at United. The interesting thing is that his contract does expire in 2025, so that price tag might drop a little bit in our favour.
Interesting thoughts. Now, gentlemen, we are going to come up to the final topic, and I'm going to keep this one brief. As we know, in Austrian duty, Sabitzer has picked up a bit of a knee niggle. We do not know what the extent of such a niggle is, but it is expected that he is going to miss Austria's second game. However, if he's going to miss any extent of time, unfortunately for us, it coincides with Casemiro's 3-match ban that he will be serving in the next 3 Premier League games. That leaves us with Mr. B's favourite dynamic duo, McFred, as the only 2 senior midfielders to be available. Now, Colum, I know you are chomping at the bit to arbitrate for Zidane's Ball getting his opportunity in this situation. But on Monday, have you got anything positive to say about having McFred as our starting holding pairing?
Yes, very positive. Look, we have to go with what we've got. I mean, we were the only 3 available today, and we're doing a check. But when you look at it, we look at the Champions League final, 99. Our midfield, Scholes and Keane throughout the whole season, got us there. Those 2 got us there to the final, playing games for us to win those big competitions. We get to the final against Bayern Munich, didn't play well. Beckham and Butt in midfield, Jesper Blomqvist on the left, and Giggs on the right. We had to just do what we had. We had to make do with what we had. And the same applies now. For the next few games, Issa might be out. Casemiro is going to be suspended. We have to go with what we know and what's there. And I do what Colin has to say about Zidane Iqbal, because I love him as a player. I think he's fantastic. I think he's the sort of player going forward that should have got an opportunity by now this season. And if there's this window is coming up now, I hope that
Sorry to cut across you Monday. I think you're having some technical issues at the moment. Just briefly, Colum, will you just kind of give us your summation on why Zidane Iqbal should start over either Fred or McTominay, just to close out the show?
Well, Fred, I think, stays in the team. I'm not going to take Fred out of the team because out of the two, he's the better one out of the two. It's McTominay I have the issue with. I cannot stand McTominay at all because all he does is hide behind the opposing players. That's all he does. He doesn't open himself to get the ball. He hides behind the players. Now, we saw Iqbal's performances. Yes, okay, it was only pre-season and everything like that, but he's shone. He stood out on the pitch. He was coming for the ball. He was hungry. He wasn't hiding behind more experienced players or anything like that. He was literally going like, give me the ball. I'm going to turn. I'm going to get us up the pitch, which is what we need because we don't have a Casemiro. We don't have Eriksen because they're both not unavailable. So we need somebody that's going to do that. Now, Fred going forward is great. He's improved a hell of a lot over what we've seen before. Defensive wise, he's not so good, in my personal opinion. Zidane Akbel is good defensively. We've seen it through his youth career, and we've seen it when he's come into the first team in pre-season tournaments. I just think it's about time we give him that chance because what's the worst that's going to happen, really? He either plays better than McTominay, about as well as McTominay, or just under McTominay. But I mean, to get under the standard of McTominay is a very, very big ask to do because I just think it's just not good enough.
Hold on, Colin. So what do you think the issue is? I'm with you on this. I agree. I'm nodding throughout your speech there. I think Zidane Akbel is brilliant. I think he can play in the Premiership, no doubt about it. He's got the talent. He's got the control of the game as well. He can dictate the tempo as well. What do you think the issue is with him coming in? Do you think there's a risk? Don't want to destroy his confidence? Do you think he'll be targeted by fellow pros out there? What's going on?
I think it's a case of, obviously, we know what Erik ten Hag's like. He likes working with younger players. I think it's a case of him not wanting to throw Iqbal in too soon because every game from now until the end of the season is vital to Manchester United's season. Maybe he wants that somebody who's had the experience, he's had years of Premier League experience over somebody that's new and fresh who, might get a little bit overwhelmed by the moment because obviously, next game is a big game. It's Newcastle. Maybe bringing in an Iqbal against Newcastle isn't the smartest idea because he might not deal with all the pressure as well as what Scott McTominay makes. He's been playing, against big teams throughout his career, where this is all new to Zidane. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we need to give him a chance.
Absolutely. I do agree that Manchester United will eventually need to take a gamble on some of our young players. Obviously, he was utilising Garnacho more this season, and I suppose maybe he was a bit reluctant to have two kind of greenhorns in terms of that level of football on the pitch at the same time. I think he has spoken highly of Zidane Akbel, and I think he's someone that will probably become more and more part of his plans kind of as next season starts. But as you said, at this stage, Manchester United are down to the bare bones. So short of reverting Bruno into the 8 and putting either Sancho or Anthony in at the 10, there is very little room for manoeuvre because if either one of Fred or McTominay picks up a knock in any case, it's going to force an alteration. Look, 3 games is what we have to get by. And in one of those games, we could probably do worse than let Zidane Akbel come in because we are playing every 3 days. And we do need to keep the squad some bit fresh as we push forward into those season-ending runs. But, gentlemen, we have been going at this for 35 minutes. We've had some wonderful comments in the chat. I do want to hit a few of them. One is from Emma Kay. She's saying, OMONDI's connection is about as stable as the midfield of McFred, or McEffries, as Mr. B calls him. He might be calling him McBroccolis now, if they perform well. The pressure is on us to win every game. Emma saying, Iqbal is tiny though, he will get beaten up physically. Now, I suppose we talk about the frame of players in a lot of circumstances. And when you're a winger, a slighter frame, at least in the initial sense, doesn't get picked up as quickly because if you have a little bit of a technical skill, it allows maybe to kind of bamboozle your opposing defender and cut on by him. But in the engine room, you do need the ability to blow people out of your way. We see that from Casemiro. Sabitzer has a nice chunky frame about him. He's able to shove and push himself about physically. Fred and McTominay, despite their limitations maybe in other areas, have a physical gait in that they're fully developed. Is that maybe a big part of the thinking? And I just want your brief answers, and that will be the final part of today's show on Monday.
Just quickly, no. Kobe gets games. He got a couple of games. I was surprised by that. He's younger than Zidane now. He was getting games. But in that central heart in the midfield, I think Zidane was perfect. I think you've got to know how to use your body to shield the ball, to protect the ball, to play pop it around, 1-2 touch, and that stops people rushing at you. Because at the end, they're being right, I'm not going to rush this guy. He's just going to pop it off all the time and know how to sort of use his body well. I think he is strong. I think he's got a low center of gravity. And I've seen him, even like you said, Colin was saying, pre-season, dominate some games against pro men footballers in Australia tour as well. So I'm really impressed with him. I don't think that's an issue, in my opinion. I think maybe the issue is something mental that we don't know about.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I don't think his size really matters at all. If you want to go into stuff like that, I mean, you can just look at certain players around the Premier League. I mean, it kills me to say it, but Martin Odegaard's one of the best Premier League midfielders this season, and he's not big or anything. He doesn't bully people off the ball. It's all about how he plays his game, and Iqbal would play his style, so he wouldn't have to bully people or anything. He'd just do what he did in pre-season tournaments.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, your viewpoints throughout the show have been much appreciated. It is still currently 1-0 to France, with Matthew Doherty having picked up a yellow for chopping down Griezmann. But at this stage, I do want to say, please do continue to like, share and subscribe. And your support is very much valued here on the Man United agenda. But that is it from us today. Mr. B, Pat and CALLULA will be back with you tomorrow. So stay with us until then.